The unforgettable presence. In the heart of the city, Adrian Vale was known by many, but truly understood by few. Despite not being a celebrity or a business tycoon, his presence alone left an indelible mark on anyone who encountered him. People often spoke of him with a sense of wonder, as if he had mastered an art beyond mere charisma. He had mastered 9 skills that, when combined, made him the most unforgettable person they had ever met. These skills weren't magical, nor were they born from privilege. They were simple, subtle techniques that anyone could learn. The secret to being unforgettable wasn't about what you had. It was about how you made others feel. This is the story of how Adrian Vale made everyone he met think about him, long after the encounter had ended. 1. The art of charismatic storytelling. The first skill Adrian had mastered was the art of storytelling. He didn't just talk to people. He took them on a journey. His stories were not about bragging or impressing. They were about creating an emotional connection. It was a chilly evening at a dinner party when Adrian shared a story about a spontaneous road trip he once took across the country. The way he described the feeling of getting lost in a desert at sunset, the isolation of being miles away from civilization, and the unexpected kindness of a stranger struck a chord with everyone in the room. People didn't just listen to his story, they lived it. His stories didn't have to be grand or exaggerated. They simply had to connect with the listener on a deeper emotional level. And that was Adrian's gift, making people feel something that stayed with them long after the conversation ended. 2. The power of eye contact. It was something most people either overlooked or misused. But Adrian knew that eyes are the windows to the soul. He didn't just look at people. He made them feel like they were the only person in the room. Whether he was speaking to a room full of people or engaging in a one-on-one conversation, Adrian knew that a steady, confident gaze conveyed more than words ever could. There was no need for grand gestures. When he locked eyes with someone, his intensity was enough to create a lasting impression. In one business meeting, a competitor tried to rattle Adrian with sharp, challenging words. Adrian didn't flinch. He simply maintained calm eye contact, which made his opponent feel small, uncertain, and unimportant. That was the power of eye contact. It wasn't about dominance. It was about showing that you were fully present and confident in who you were. 3. The subtle art of mystery. Adrian was never an open book. In fact, he was quite the mystery. People were drawn to him not because of what he revealed, but because of what he didn't. When asked about his past, Adrian didn't offer all the details. He would give just enough to intrigue the listener, leaving them wanting more. One time, a woman asked him what inspired his career. He simply smiled and said, "It's a story for another time. Maybe over dinner?" He didn't need to share his whole life story. By keeping a little of himself hidden, he created curiosity. And curiosity, as they say, is the most powerful form of attraction. 4. Magnetic presence. Adrian never tried to dominate a room, but whenever he entered one, people couldn't help but notice him. There was a magnetic aura around him that demanded attention, but not in an overt way. He knew that confidence wasn't about being the loudest or most opinionated. It was about being at ease with who you were. Adrian didn't slouch, didn't fidget, and didn't try to force conversation. He simply owned every space he was in. At a networking event, while others were glued to their phones or crowded in cliques, Adrian stood in the center of the room, talking to anyone who approached him with a calm smile. He was approachable, yet untouchable. He didn't need to fight for attention. He already had it. 5. Leaving a conversation. First, Adrian's next secret: leaving conversations first. Most people are terrified of silences or awkward pauses, so they try to prolong conversations until they feel they've exhausted the topic. Adrian knew that the best way to leave a lasting impression was to end the conversation while it was still good. He had a knack for knowing when the moment was right to say, "I've really enjoyed our time. Let's talk again soon." It wasn't about walking away from the conversation. It was about walking away while the other person was still engaged. This created a sense of anticipation that lingered long after Adrian left the room. 6. Unapologetic authenticity. Adrian didn't try to fit into the mold of what others wanted him to be. He was authentically himself, and that was what made him unforgettable. While others might have put on a facade at social events, Adrian spoke openly about his flaws and vulnerabilities. He shared his failures, his awkward moments, and his growth. It was refreshing. Once, at a high-profile gala, Adrian admitted in front of everyone, "I used to be terrified of public speaking. The first time I tried, I froze and forgot my own name." This vulnerability didn't make him less impressive. It made him human. People appreciated the realness he brought to every interaction. He showed them that it was okay to not be perfect. It made them want to be around him more. 7. Creating emotional anchors. Every interaction with Adrian left an emotional mark. He made sure of it. He didn't just talk to people. He anchored his presence in their emotions. One time, a colleague confided in him about a difficult situation at work. Instead of just offering advice, Adrian listened with empathy and shared a moment of deep connection. They laughed, they cried, and by the end, they both felt stronger for having shared that experience. These moments were powerful because they left emotional footprints in the hearts of those around him. People didn't remember what Adrian said. They remembered how he made them feel. The power of scarcity. Adrian didn't make himself available at all times. He understood that scarcity equals value. People who were always around were often taken for granted, but Adrian wasn't one of those people. He made others work for his attention. When people sought his company, they appreciated it more, because they couldn't just get it whenever they wanted. It was the mystery of not knowing when they'd see him next that kept them thinking about him long after he left. 9. Knowing when to walk away. Finally, Adrian knew when to walk away. He didn't fight for people's attention, and he never begged anyone to stay in his life. If someone didn't value him, he didn't argue. He simply walked away. This subtle act conveyed his self-worth. It made people realize what they had only after it was gone. Once, a friend tried to reach out after Adrian had distanced himself from the relationship. The friend texted, "I didn't realize how much I appreciated you until you stopped being around." That was the power of walking away. Absence made them realize what they had. Conclusion: the unforgettable legacy. By mastering these 9 skills, Adrian became more than just a man. He became a memory that lingered in the minds of everyone he met, long after he had moved on to the next chapter of his life. He didn't need to try hard. He didn't need to be the loudest, the richest, or the most powerful. He simply understood one truth. The key to making someone think about you nonstop is to make them feel something that stays with them forever. Subscribe our channel for more videos.